Oh, you want to start? Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, my initial premise would just be that, um, yeah, my initial premise or like overall conclusion would just be that I think Maki has the speed and utility necessary to kill Kenjaku.
Wait one second
Hello?
before I tag that. Clicksu, he's gonna say that do you want to guess anyone? Trust. I'll send you the screenshot of guessing he didn't win. But anyway, um, do you think Maki has like the speed and like the ability to kill Kenjaku?
Yeah, yeah, I think she has the speed and utility to kill Kenjaku,
Oh,
and I can
okay.
explain why if you want.
Um, I'm looking at your utility second. I want to have that on standby. Because I think that would be contingent a lot on speed. Why do you think she has the speed to kill Kenjaku?
I'd say she has the speed to kill him because it's implied that if bait, like for example, I have multiple arguments for this, but I'll just use this one because I think it's the most straightforward.
Okay.
So, would you agree that 15 finger Sukuna is physically faster, or yeah, faster than Kenjaku to like a speed blitz degree?
Why?
Because I just think there's something implying that 15 finger Sukuna would be
Actually,
able to
sure,
like,
sure, 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 sure. I don't know if it's a speed blitz degree, but I can agree 50 fingers above.
huh?
I don't know what implies the speed blitz degree, but I can agree 50 fingers above.
All right, well then I'll just try to argue for this people since I think it would be um better for my well yeah yeah yeah. So anyway, are you aware that like when Gojo is like about to do an attack, Kenjaku instead of moving he just accepts his fate, whereas Sukuna is able to rush from where he was and block the attack.
You know, like most of Gojo's techniques are like AoE, right?
No, I don't know what points to that.
Um, if when he does blue, it's not like it's like a small beam goes just like a particular direction. He's gonna have to like jump around and completely move out of the way. I think in that moment, um, Kenjaku could just feel like no matter what he does, he's gonna lose to Gojo because Gojo is just so much stronger. This doesn't have to inherently mean that okay, he's gonna get like absolutely mollywop speed blitzed. This could literally just mean he could accept his fate because he knows that there's no like escaping this.
Oh, so you're arguing that it's an AoE, so Kenjaku wouldn't move anyway or be able to
Well,
defend himself.
The AoE part isn't that important. My point is, Gojo just has a bunch of like big techniques that I think Kenjaku knows about. Kenjaku would just be like shitting himself just seeing Gojo. He could just be accepting his fate because Gojo's gonna kill him no matter what, rather than thinking, oh yeah, he's gonna speed blitz me. Because you don't even like kill someone without speed blitzing them, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't mind that, but what I'm saying is that my argument is like contingent upon the fact that what was implied is that Kenjaku didn't try to react to Gojo fight for his life or anything, whereas um
Yeah, but I told
like
you why.
it was like yeah, he didn't try to like defend himself or anything. He just kind of sat there. Whereas you have like Sukuna who rushes from whatever distance he was at, which obviously wasn't in the area since we get shots before he pops up, and it's implied he kind of rushed over there, and he was still able to block like or intercept the attack before Kenjaku. Not
What's
well,
so
rather
quiet?
intercept the attack, whereas Kenjaku didn't even think he could
Why is
do anything of
everything
the
so
sort,
quiet?
which just would imply like he has more speed
You know, he
or whatnot.
reacts to, Suguna reacts like Gojo jumping up, and he doesn't react to the attack itself. He reacts to like Gojo's attempt to
Oh
initiate
my
it,
god,
right?
this nigga.
Who is commentating? Okay. But yeah, what I was saying is, he reacts to like Gojo attempting to initiate the technique, not the technique itself. You know that, right?
I mean, yeah, he reacts before because look, this is what I'm trying to say. Let me like I'll lay it out. So, we have like two different instances here. We have when Gojo goes in the air. Well, he's already in the air, but like, wait, no, no, no. I think he goes in the air because he was like standing on something. I don't remember, but I don't think that matters. What happens is that like he's using an attack, and Kenjaku just like stands there, like he's just like ready to. He's asking Gojo to know different. Whereas we have like Sukuna. is like actually rushing towards Gojo in an attempt to save him, or in an attempt to block or stop said attack.
Wait, but okay, I feel like it's so assumption based. It's like, okay, Kenjaku, yeah, at this point he's like practically given up, right? He's just kind of standing there, and again, it's not even like oh, dude, it's not even like what's it called? He accepted his fate. He's just standing there. What happens is he gets pushed back. So he's like trying to regroup himself, right? And then Gojo tries attacking him. Sukuna intercepts him before Gojo does anything. Gojo jumping right now, right? It's not even like Gojo's like activating red or purple. I think there's just like a lot of assumptions here made. One of them being that Kenjaku is just given up completely. Which even if it is the case, we don't know if that's because Gojo could like just completely Mollywood blitz him, or whether it's just because like Gojo's just or whether that's just because Gojo's just above Kenjaku, which is fine. And again, we do see like a part of the area. We see Gojo standing there, and we see Kenjaku standing there, but we don't get a full view. We see Gojo where he is, and then we see a downwards view from what Gojo's looking at. But we don't see like the entire arena, so I don't know where Sukuna is.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. For example, I'm arguing that in the time span where Kenjaku was stunned and didn't think he could react to said attack, which can be argued as an AoE or not, which I personally don't think there's any evidence of being. We see that since, like, for example, I'll just post a panel in VC scan. So like this
What
is like
implies Kenjaku gave up again?
what imply. Oh, I mean, against Gojo, I don't necessarily like. It's weird. How do I explain it? I don't think he gave up in the sense of like. I don't actually think he gave up at all because I think it's somewhere stated that like Sukuna was his second plan if the prison realm didn't work, which means he would rely on Sukuna to do said thing. And also, as for him getting, well, yeah, you can attack that point actually.
No, I agree with all this. I agree, like Sukuna is like a contingency plan, but just because you have a plan doesn't mean it's gonna work. We see like 15th finger Sukuna, he like kind of intercepts Gojo jumping. I just don't understand why any of this means 15th finger Sukuna like blitzes Kenjaku.
Because I think I'm trying to build like a precedent here, or like rather a what would you call it?
Like a
Like just a
basis.
yeah, like a basis for Kenjaku like being under him in speed to a speed blitz degree via him doing a feat that Kenjaku, like for example, I think I'm like not articulating it well, so I'll
No, I
just
get your
like say
point,
yeah.
but like all the like your point communicating is that Sukuna is above Kenjaku because Sukuna can stand up to this nigga. Kenjaku clearly can't stand up against. But then again, I'm saying Sukuna's not really standing up against him. He kind of like intercepts him when he's about to jump. Um, and again, we don't know the speed disparity exactly between Gojo and Kenjaku, so I don't know how we'd assert that 15 fingers Sukuna speed blitzes Kenjaku. There's a difference between like being faster and more overwhelming, and then being a speed blitz faster.
Mm, well, we see the panel how it plays out, and like he said, you should choose your words more carefully. He does the thing, and then we see from like the left side of the panel, he raises his finger. Kenjaku like can't even do anything before Sukuna rushes in, and they have this
What
little
do you think
like
he used
clash.
there?
Huh? You said what do I think he used?
Bro,
Yeah.
you're talking to a brick wall. I don't hear shit.
Who
Huh?
me?
Like, who are you talking to?
What?
Huh?
Maybe he has to be local muted. Ask him if he has to be local muted.
Who muted?
I think he has to be local muted.
Oh dang.
I don't know who this nigga is, but he must have some agenda. But
Bro,
um,
what do you mean you don't know who I am? Fuck.
yeah, I don't know who you are. Anyway, like we the whole thing. I think he uses blue hair, right? Is that what you think? Blue?
No, I don't think it's a blue because if anything, like Ursula, we know like his whole plan is to get rid of Kenjaku's body or whatever. Not Kenjaku, rather Ghetto's body, since we know that he said, this will be your last words, and based on him not wanting to make the same mistake again, which is to leave his body out for someone else's, like another sorcerer of Kenjaku's level or caliber, or um rather like what would it be, Kit or whatever, then yeah, he
That's
doesn't
fine.
want that.
I'm just confused. What is he using then?
I'd rather say it was like Actually, I'd just say it's like a purple, not a purple. No,
Purple
can't be
is
purple.
crazy.
Yeah, it's not a
Purple
purple.
is-
It's not purple. It's not purple. Shit. I'd say it's like a red, but it doesn't have to be anything crazy because I don't think he's gonna use an AOE blue on Kenjaku. Because first of all,
But
I
Kenjaku
just think
dodges
that
this, no?
who dodges it?
Kenjaku?
He dodges red.
Whatever he uses here, I don't know what he uses, but we see Kenjaku like he moves back and then he's like on the ground. That whatever Gojo does doesn't get him. If it was blue, it would attract him to Gojo. Obviously, he's not
When
in front
does
of Gojo. If it was
when?
red, it would hit him, but he dodges it.
But like, when does he ever like dodge? I don't see a dodge. Like,
You see the
what I see.
sphere, and you see him like moving backwards.
Oh, you're talking about the bottom panel?
Yeah.
Wait, where? I don't even see Kenjaku in that panel.
Oh, um, it
No, I'm
it's
talking about the upper half of it. I'm not talking about. I see him in the lower half, but I'm talking about like where the spear is, the like cut off from spear, like the cut off up from the spear. I don't
look,
see.
look, 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 look. He's standing here, right?
Yeah. All right. So look, I got the chapter right here. So basically, he's standing like with Gojo above him. He's like, "It's been a long time since you were truly relaxed. How was it? Hey." He was like, "Hey, you should choose your words more carefully." This is Gojo talking to Kenjaku. He's like, "After all, they will be your last." And then we see the finger getting put up. We see Kenjaku, and he has the little sweat on his face. And then we see Sukuna's eyes, and then we see like a little clash. Then we see the ball, and then under that like split panel, we see Kenjaku like throwing his hand up or moving in some sort of fashion.
Wait, what? What?
Yeah, I just explained what happened in the manga.
No, I understand that, but I don't think that's consistent with what's shown. Okay, I'm gonna let's go step by step, and you tell me if you agree or disagree. Okay.
Yeah.
You agree they're both standing there in the first panel. They're like Gojo standing there, Kenjaku standing there,
Yeah, I agree to that.
and then Gojo does a technique.
No, I don't think he does a technique.
Wait, you don't think the sphere is a technique?
I mean, he doesn't get the technique off, so yeah, I don't think he
How?
does a
Wait, no,
technique.
no. The sphere in the sky, in this next panel. You
Uh-huh.
don't think that's a technique? We just talked
The
about this,
sphere in
blue
the
or red.
sky.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
we this panel I just sent. You see the circle thing?
You just sent it. All right, let me see it.
You
Yeah,
see the circle?
I don't think that's
We
a
just
technique.
talked
I
about
think.
this though, and you said it was red, and I said it was blue.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about his hand going up.
Oh, what do you think that is
Yeah,
then?
I mean, I don't think it was a technique because if it was a technique, then like I don't even know how you'd argue that was the technique. I think that's just Sukuna and Gojo clashing.
That's Sukuna and Gojo clashing? That's crazy because like what if Sukuna popped up? We see when Sukuna appears, and then Megumi Gojo says something to Sukuna. We see like Sukuna move there, and what's it called? We see movement lines. Like, do you know in JJK it's like the best case is Naya. Whenever he's like moving really fast, we see movement lines. Right after Gojo says that to Kenjaku, we start seeing movement lines with Kenjaku's face on it, meaning Kenjaku is moving and Gojo is moving. So they must have had some altercation that Kenjaku escaped from. Even if I'm not saying he's faster relative to Gojo, but whatever technique he used there, Kenjaku could avoid.
Yeah, I don't think that's you could argue that like I mean I get the loop moving line thing. I get
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying, but at the same time I also don't see why
Also,
that
that looks
couldn't just
exactly
be
like blue, by the way. The spear. The sphere.
mm. Yeah, I just don't know why you would argue that that's moving him moving like that could just be like for example that could just be in reference to a like heavy source of action going on in the panel. I don't necessarily think it's
I agree.
moving.
What do you think the heavy? Well, I told you, like, it's normally indicators of movement. That's
Well,
consistency.
yeah,
I can give you multiple
by heavy
instances.
action, I could just mean in the moment, not like I can mean in the moment, not in like kept to every character. Like for example, they could just be displaying that there are multiple characters in the panel moving with those two characters being Gojo and Sukuna. Because I don't think Kenjaku
But we
would
see
like for
Kenjaku's
example,
face there on one of the movement panels.
yeah, he's just encapsulated in the action, not necessarily partaking in it.
See, that's an extra assumption, though, because you're saying that oh, even though the consistency of movement lines being used a certain way in all these panels, in this one panel where Kenjaku has movement lines on him, it's an exception because instead of actually moving, he's amazed by other movements. But I think that's just an extra assumption.
No, I think I have good basis for it. With the basis being that he's just stun locked since previously his only
But that's
indication of
circular,
like
though.
how so.
Because that's contention on the basis that you still haven't proven that the clash was Gojo and Sukuna in that sphere.
Well, I think it is because from like the point of view we see or whatever.
Yeah, but that's
Like,
what's in question. Like, is that what we're seeing, or is it the blue? And I told you why it's blue because it's a sphere just like blue.
what do you think the hand motion Gojo did can single up a blue?
We don't exactly see what hand motion he's doing. We just see his hand and we see he's doing something. I don't know what he does, but I think it's blue based off the way it's demonstrated.
I don't think so because with maximum blue, he has to. I'm pretty sure he has to do like way more than raise his finger. I just think that he was going for an attack and Sukuna intercepted it, which is what the clash would be.
Which is what the clash would be.
Yeah,
Again,
the
I
brawl
don't
that was.
know if the Sukuna Gojo stuff is what happened, and I've told you why. But as for how like the prerequisites for blue, like in what if I told you we just see him like, create something with his hand, and that was like way before he even like improved it more. We know he's been working on blue since then, so I don't know what the conditions are now for him using blue. I mean, he uses blue against Agito, doesn't he?
I think so. Yeah, but that was with his blue enhanced punches. That isn't with like uh, like that isn't him forming a ball. He's using his blue enhanced punches. And
Yeah, but
also, I
that's what
know
I'm
it.
saying. I'm talking about like the prerequisite for that situation. We don't see him like doing like crazy hand signs or some shit.
Like you're talking about this instance when he like ping pongs Koji around.
When he like tries doing the blue, but then Toji sneaks behind him and kills him.
No, that's not what happened.
Hmm?
What happens is that he thinks about using another blue, and then he realizes that,
We
or
see
he
him
makes the
formulating it.
assumption rather. He thinks about using another blue, but then he makes the assumption, or yeah, he makes the assumption that he, Toji might have just distracted him to get to Ghetto and Amari, from which he then gets snuck. I don't think it's because I think he was sidetracked to the
That's
point
what
he
I'm talking
wasn't gonna.
about. That's not the
Huh?
panel. That's not the panel. Let me show you.
Uh,
It's chapters 61, 60, right? Or no?
what is?
That never mind. That is way off. The Gojo and Toji fight. Maybe that's like 70.
Hmm,
70.
let me see. So he says
74?
maximum output blue,
71. Ah, close enough.
41 seconds. Oh, I see what you mean.
You know, like the right after that panel. You see how it's like doing blue again? Then we see the sphere.
But I think this one is. I think. Wait, hold on. Let me see the other blue.
Yeah, like in all of these situations, there's just one consistency. It's just a sphere, and then with Kenjaku, we just see a sphere again. So that doesn't make sense.
But I think it's different because, like, in the shot we see when he used against Agito, it has like a little hole in the middle, and it's a
What?
lot smaller. Whereas the one right here, it's like it's a lot smaller, and the one we see up here is a lot bigger and has like the little nebulous hole in it or whatever.
Um. Well, I'll tell you this, but it looks different like over time. I think this could just be because isn't this his maximum blue? Like,
Yeah,
isn't
it's his
this a
maximum.
different version of it?
What?
Isn't this a different version of it? Hold on.
Mm.
You know what chapter this is?
What the Gojo? I could get the Gojo fight chapter for you.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I should argue there or not. He can kind of change the wingspan or size of his blue to fit his need,
No,
but
that's.
that's what I'm saying.
I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
If he's
That's
able to
not.
dictate the circumference of his technique, then obviously it's gonna be changing over time. So
But yeah, like there being a sphere in the middle of it doesn't really mean anything. it's just because of how it's aimed in that moment that we see it from an angle where it's much more visible. I think like how he's like trade blue over time that I told you about. I think it could just be a byproduct of that. In the Kenjaku instance, we don't see that because by the time we get a picture of blue, it's already been like formed completely. Whereas an Agito thing, it's still being formed, like it's still being shot out.
Mm.
But what the little the thing is, the black thing, it's dragging the characters towards them. That's what blue does, it attracts you. So he tries doing the same way with Kenjaku because he's trying to get to Kenjaku, right? So we see right after blue fails, he tries running towards Kenjaku. That's his purpose. So of course he would use blue. But Kenjaku moves up.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that the blues you showed aren't like they don't even look like what this would be. I mean, yeah, you said you're arguing that we didn't get to see it form all the way,
Yeah.
but I just think that that would be more of an assumption to say that than that was the clash, considering how we see these two characters rush in, and then
No,
I
but
would just say it's a ball from their clash, and then we see them in the air.
okay, but if we both agree that there's spheres formed in all three of those situations, only in one of them the sphere looks different. And that one just happens to be the one where it immediately gets into contact the second it's released. That blue being, I think that's the only real distinction you can make. But then again, it still possesses the same shape as the other two instances of blue. So I think there's just a whole consistency there. And again, I've even told you like a rationale behind it where if Gojo's intention is to get close to Kenjaku, him using a sphere technique that attracts the opponent to him would be literally the most like obvious way for him to go about it. Like it's just like it's super by numbers. There's nothing like more in depth about it. It's pretty simple.
I think it's pretty in depth because if you said like, look, for example, if you said he's trying to get closer to Kenjaku, I don't think there's anything to like base that on besides him using the blue, and even then, like the blue is I think the blue is shown to be like pushing things away from it rather than rather than what's the name, then bring it to it. Like for example, we see um like we know blue things attracts things. That's what I'm saying. But it can but also in this panel we see it like, for example, we know that Kenjaku is nowhere in the area. Well, he's somewhere in the area, but not in this panel per se. So we see this little you see this little dresser looking thing, or this it's like two dots on it
Yeah.
in the top next to the it's like right side of the spear.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the bottom panel, like right under that, we see it's now next to Kenjaku, indicating that it was pushed away
Wait, say that
from the
again?
initial point. Yeah, I'm talking about the little dresser thing. Like it looks like a dresser has two like circles on it, and it's like a in a rectangular
Oh, you're talking
in a
about like
rec.
when Gojo starts the technique
Yeah,
and we see it formulating?
I mean, if blue was formulating, it would be pulling things towards it, since that's what we
We
see
see
it
it
do when it
breaking
uses
stuff.
its
We see like
explosion.
boom, 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 and we see like objects flying around.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that instead of repelling things, like for example, the spear has nothing around it, and obviously we know Kenjaku is nowhere near the spear, and
Which means he
well,
dodged it.
rather, huh?
Which means he dodged it.
No, I'm not. No, what I'm saying is that look. So point A of reference is that Kenjaku is out of panel. And I know that's not a good argument, but let me
Wait,
explain. What I
Hero,
mean by out of
can
panel is
you repeat
basically
that
he's
question?
so far away from said object that the panel would not render him. And we see the little dresser looking thing, or I'll just call it, yeah, object A or whatever. And then in the lower panel, we see that object A is closer to Kenjaku than it was to the spear, indicating some sort of push maneuver or movement in which the thing was moved away from the spear as well as everything else. And
Mhm.
also, boom could just be it breaking something or like destroying things around it, which
I
it
don't wanna.
obviously is.
I don't wanna just sound like a dickhead, but it's it's kind of hard for me to like talk about like a billion different possibilities that could be going on here. I think like we can just move on because there's just so many things that could be happening. I think I've built up a case for my interpretation being the most consistent and strongest interpretation, but like I don't want to say like what you said wasn't like like sensible because it wasn't like nonsensible, but it was just like I think we can just move on. We'll probably just keep disagreeing on this.
All right.
Okay. What else?
Oh, hero. Who in your profile picture?
I don't know.
Oh,
Why, Clixu? Get your horny ass on, nigga.
don't worry about
Please. Alright. Kenjaku over Maki, man, is killing Super Sim. Oh, I also don't think Maki's killed Sukuna, but I think Kenjaku is just directly stated over Maki.
Oh yeah, can you show me the statement?
Maki says that someone could beat Yuki, and Choso can be defeated conventionally.
Can you show me that panel?
Yeah, gotcha. I'm sipping Hennessy.
Oh god.
Where's the Where's TCB? But TCB has so much ads now. It's so annoying. 211, I think. Yeah. Check VC scans.
Yeah, I'm looking. All right, Choso, where's Sukumo's in? Yuki saying they left. You're doing a terrible state right now. There's only still lives on. I know. So, oh, Sukumo saying is at the same level as Yuta. She joined the death painting and Tengen-sama, but she joined forces with the death painting and Tengen-sama, but still lost. We already knew it, but this serves as a further confirmation that we can't do. Okay, so this just says that they can't defeat him through conventional means.
Yeah.
And I think I can build a case for Maki herself being unconventional.
Like, unconventional in the sense that like she's different from everyone else. But she doesn't say that. She says we, right? Meaning all of them, including Maki, can beat him in conventional means. It's not conventional for her because she's included within that statement.
Yeah, I just think that can be a character doubting themselves, as we know characters can do, or within the wrong right mindset, as we know characters can do. Because even if you do use the conventional argument that she's including herself, I just think there's more cases to her being unconventional than there is
Oh,
with her being included in that statement.
that doesn't really affect my statement. But again, why do you think she's being humble?
Because, like, for example, when we know Kenjaku conventionally, we are aware that, like, you are aware that Kenjaku owns like 10 million cursed spirits, right?
Yeah.
You said nah. All
I
right.
said yeah. No, I said yeah.
Oh, all right. So yeah, we know that if Kenjaku was to be killed, then there would need to be someone who can halt or stop these cursed spirits from rampaging slash
Does she know
running
this?
amok or doing whatever these things. And so obviously, I don't think that Maki would have the capabilities to kill all 10 million, which is why Yuta
Wait, I'm
specifically
confused.
was sent. Huh?
Does she know this?
I mean, I think she's well aware of it, seeing
Based off
how
what?
you said why.
Yeah.
Oh, because I just think that if they're fighting Kenjaku and they have some knowledgeable, well, let me say this, they have sufficient knowledge enough to send someone out. Because, like, send someone out like Yuta, you could say Yuta was their strongest asset, but I just don't know how you come to that conclusion when there's a multitude of other people. Like, for example, they could have sent people who they thought would have fared better, like Higuruma, for example. Like, I just don't see it being likely.
Yuta just was stronger than Maki. He was stronger than. That's why they particularly choose him. It's not because of Rico. Even the curses.
You said Yuta is stronger than Maki?
No, I said Judah could just be like overall better suited to deal with curses than Maki.
I
Like
mean,
they
yeah,
know Kenjaku has
he-
curses, but they don't know about the rampage, or at least I don't see what points they know about the rampage.
I mean, I'm just saying they should have sufficient enough knowledge to know about said rampage. I mean, if they know, like, for example, if if like how do I explain it? I feel like there, like, look, this is like reaching, but I feel like Yuki could have told them in advance, seeing how they teamed up with Yuki and how Yuki would have like some of the most knowledge on on
Yeah, but due
Ghetto's
to
or Kenjaku, and by extension Kenjaku's abilities, because everyone and their mom has probably seen him use the curse manipulation. He did it with Maito, like in front of everybody, and they probably have this stuff in the index as well, given how they have like things such as like not deities, but rather like curse spirits and whatnot in their little base of operations. So we can make it like likelihood that they would have ghettos not ghettos like curse technique in said book, not book but
yeah,
in said place, my fault.
so they could just have Gyro's curse technique in that said place. But yeah, I agree, dude. I'm not doubting that they know about Gyro's curse technique. What I'm doubting is, do they know about the rampage that's gonna happen afterwards?
Well, if they know about the technique, then they should know the drawbacks of happening what would happen if you killed someone with said
How
technique. I
how
mean,
would they know
like,
that though? I
well,
know they
because I
should,
think
but
through
yeah.
common sense it would just be implied. Like, for example, if I like for example if a bottle stores up many liquids and you break said bottle, then obviously the liquids are going to spill out. I think I'll go with that analogy. We could just state that if they were to kill Kenjaku, then the cursed spirits that he holds would spill out from their containment and go among, which they
I don't think
probably
that's completely analogous with something you have to initiate because in this case, Kenjaku's in a container for curses. He kind of just like brings out curses. Obviously, he doesn't like fit all those curses in his stomach, right? So, it's like when Gojo died, did like purple spew out of him? Like, I
But
just don't
that's
think
not
that's
wait, that's not
analogous.
analogous. Wait, sorry to cut you off, but like I
You're
don't think
good.
that's analogous to what you're saying. What I'm saying because I'm bringing the analogy of a bottle to like a bottle and liquid to Kenjaku and his curse spirit, seeing how he's the one that holds the technique and would therefore have like I'm not saying his curse technique is what pours out. I'm saying the encompassment or not encompassment, the things that are encompassed in said curse technique spill out. That's why I brought up the bottle analogy. If I spill a bottle, then like, if I hold a bottle with many liquids and I break that bottle, then obviously the liquids are going to spill out. Just like
He
if
eats them, right?
Kenjaku, huh?
His stomach's still intact. It's just his head that gets cut off.
Yeah, but I'm saying Kenjaku himself wrote like he died, or rather, he was in a state of death. So yeah, he was released of said curse. Like, look, yeah, he died, and then when he like got, I think I hope I'm not messing this up, but wait, I can go see real quick. I can go see real quick.
Sure.
Because look, I'm arguing. What I'm arguing is that when he got stabbed in the head, that's when the curse spirit started to run amok, and that's why they sent Yuta out there because Yuta has good crowd control with him having Rika, who can easily like handle all of these things. But yeah, let me see real quick if I'm all right. So he rolls up on Kenjaku. Oh dang. Yeah. So as soon as he beheads Kenjaku, then the cursed spirits go out of control, which could just correlate with Kenjaku's body being dead. Therefore, he would, die. And so the cursed spirits would go out of control, which is exactly what happened.
Wait, say it again.
So yeah, I just said like I'll send the panels and VC scans in in order. Wait. So this panel up here, and then they run out. We're labbing after this. Okay, cool. All right, so in VC scans. I'll post them in like order or whatever. So we got that. Then we got that. Are they in right order? I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah, they are. So, in panel one, we see that after he beheads Kenjaku, then the cursed spirits start running amok. We see that in panel two with Yuta defending off said cursed spirits, and then in panel three, which is like the bottom one, we see that
Yeah.
these cursed spirits are like aligned on a bridge where Rika can easily maintain the number of them and handle them as they come through. And then in panel four, we see Kenjaku with his head flying around, to which then Yuta caps him with his sword.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think that since the situation is Yuta being able to handle these things, whereas I think Maki would get overwhelmed due to like the sheer number, and
No,
Rika
no, I agree with all
obviously.
this. I agree with all this. I just think the bottles. I just don't understand why. Like this is all happening because they leaked out of Kenjaku instead of Kenjaku just releasing them. Because we still see he's not dead yet. We see his head flying around. So
But yeah, normally when you like for example, wait, this is gonna sound real dumb, but I feel like I can argue it good enough. So like for example, when we see like sorcerers get beheaded or stuff, I do think that that is just like I think the cursed spirit manipulation is entailed of the body, not necessarily the soul or person, because we know that Kenjaku through and through is like a head or a brain rather. He's not like he's not an actual what's his name? He's not an actual what is it? He's not actually taking over. Well, he's not actually Kenjaku in the sense, but he's rather just like a brain in Ghetto's body. So of course, if a cursed spirit is like a brain, then him getting like his head cut off won't like kill him, since
is that what
obviously a
happened
brain
with?
is like
Is that what happened with Ghetto when he died in Volume Zero?
uh, I don't know. I didn't watch um Volume Zero.
Okay, we see him die, but we don't know what happens after he dies. My whole point is, um, I think it's like super assumption based. It's like this. We've seen characters die before JJK, right? A bunch of times.
You said what?
We've seen characters die before in JJK a bunch of times. Even with Junpei, when he dies, he has Shikigami. They don't spill out after he died. Kashimo, lightning doesn't spill out after he dies. I think the bottle analogy would be fine if he was a vessel that's storing all this in his body, right? In the sense that it's just like swimming around his body. But that's not how it works. It's obviously him having to summon them through the little orb that he has, right? So my whole thing is, if it's not like swimming in his body, then it's just a technique that he has to activate. We never see like them come out by themselves. Even if his body dies, the bottle of water is completely disanalogous because the water's there. The second the bottle breaks, the water spills out because the water's swimming within that bottle, right? In this case, if that thing is constrained to a ball and has to be activated in order to come out, then it's not free flowing like water where it's just there in the body, just in the bottle, just ready to come out. It's not completely different. It's just not because the whole time I was like, I was watching a movie, so I was distracted. But now that I think about it, the bottle thing just isn't analogous at all.
No, I do believe it to be analogous based on what I said and the argument I presented. I mean, you're arguing that Kenjaku didn't die, but he was still able to activate the curse
That's
techniques.
not just my
Um,
argument.
I mean, it's like this mini point or like something along those lines. Like, like you said, he did activate the rampage, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think he activated it? What makes you think he activated
What makes me think it activated?
it? Yeah.
Because he can still what's it called? He can still speak within the head, even if his body's detached. Um, it's still connected. He can still have it connected to the original body. Because obviously, if you want to say, oh, because Kenjaku's like a little parasite, he can't really die. He's in someone's head, and the head is doing things the head conventionally would do, which is speak, look, all that stuff, right? So it's not like if the body was dead and completely expired, Kenjaku wouldn't be able to do that with the head who is doing things that living beings are able to do. You don't see a dead person's head talking.
Yeah.
I
Well,
I don't think he's dead.
yeah, but look, I'll just say this like one more time to reiterate what I said, and I think we can move to conclusions.
Sure, bro.
What I was just basically saying is that even though Kenjaku isn't dead because even though the head got cut off, he's still able to move it. I think I already established that Kenjaku himself is not a human. He is a brain. Like that is what it's implied to be. Like I think through like him being multiple people, he was like Noritoshi Kamo, I think that's his name, or Noritoshi, whatever his name is. He was also like Yuji's mom, and then he was like also Ghetto. I think we can just set up the precedent that and he also keeps said people's knowledge, and that when he opens his head it's like a brain with a mouth, so we can assume like
What?
this is true. Yeah, does he not?
Yeah, I know, but I just don't think this attacks what I said. But you can we can wrap this up.
Yeah, so basically what I'm saying. Yeah, he's a brain and not a human. So of course, if like for example, if I'm a brain and I'm inside someone, I would not be debilitated. Like what do I say? I would not be debilitated in the same way a human would be. Like for example, if you cut Kenjaku's head off, he's a brain, so he is not damaged by that factor himself. Whereas if you cut a normal human's head off, obviously they're gonna like die because I mean
Mhm.
the head is connected to the brain functions multiple other things, et cetera, et cetera. So decontachment was decontachment was made, then obviously the lower body shut down, which in turn made the body, quote unquote, we'll just say dead, and then the cursed spirits rained out because of the fact that he was dead, and so there was no real like and then I'll just bring up the bottle analogy where there was like really nothing keeping them in there and they
Mhm.
leaked out. But yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't feel like the need to conclude. We can just wrap this up.
You said what?
I don't feel the need to like particularly conclude. We can just wrap this up. We don't have a
Okay. So you
judge.
think yeah, it doesn't matter.
Do you think he won?
I think as for this certain point, yeah, I do think I won.
What do you think about the last one?
Huh?
What do you think about the last one, the Kenjaku and Gojo one?
You said why didn't I win the last point?
No, I said, what do you think about the last one? Do you think you won the last one, or?
Yeah, I low key don't like arguing that part of the fight because it's really ambiguous and there's a lot of
Mhm.
interpretations. So I'd assume I lost, but I don't think it matters.
Okay, I'm not trying to like ego you. I don't like. I wasn't paying attention. You could have won. I don't know. I wouldn't know. But yeah, good debate.
Wait, the debate's over?
Nigga, what else do you want to go over?
So like you don't have anything Kenjaku wise you want to go
It was
about?
just that statement, Kenjaku over Maki. But I guess
Oh,
if you want to go over something else, we can go over why you think Maki kills Sasukuna. I went over the same thing with Haram yesterday.
uh, well, I kind of just I'm iffy on it to be honest because I could say that like the fight they had where he's not physically hindered is just encouraged input. I think a good rebuttal to that would just be saying like if Sukuna was to like have all his abilities I don't think like it's weird because I could argue it physically, but then that would be contingent upon the fact that he didn't hold back to begin with, and then there's also like multiple like translations and interpretations of what happened, and it's just like
Seems
real
like
iffy.
all the translations use like one output word that just completely defeats like the interpretation that he's normal. Like the word output, if you look up the denotation of it in the Oxford Dictionary, it's the production of something. So the amount of curse energy you have, you utilizing curse energy in any way, it's output. So if his output's lowered, whatever he does with curse energy is lower, and he fights with curse energy. So this nigga is not at
So
this is
you
not
wouldn't
his.
say that statement is like hindering. You wouldn't say that statement is pertaining to its physicals.
I think it pertains to everything that needs cursed energy. His physicals require cursed energy, so yeah.
Mm. So yeah. Well, dang.
Yeah, I just think like there's just a lot more pointing towards 15 finger not being, especially with stuff that's going on now. I think it like even for the support set. I think current Sukuna is like 2 finger level.
You think why you think he's 2 finger?
He's below 3 finger. I mean, I know that much because 3 finger. You know how 3 finger is able to like be content with Maharaga?
Uh, 3 finger, yeah. Well, but
Yeah.
that's like wait, was that Sukuna? That was Megumi's Maharaga, so it's like different.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. 3 finger content with Maharaga, and if Maharaga does way better against 15 finger than Ryu does.
You said what?
Maharaga does way better against 15 finger than Ryu does. Like Sukuna's like impressed by Maharaga. He watches Ryu and he's like, "This nigga's like you're durable," but like he can like, kind of like blitzes the shit out of him.
Well, couldn't you just say that like, hmm? Couldn't you just say that what is his name? Could you just say that he was like holding back to see the adaptation?
Of Maharaga,
Yeah.
he uses domain expansion.
Well,
Can
I
you
mean,
hold
yeah.
back a sure hit?
No, wait. What I'm not arguing he held back. Like I'm arguing he held back pre the adaptation because obviously he was like, for example, he wanted to see Maharaga adapt. So after he saw that, he didn't have any real need to keep Maharaga around. So and obviously, if we know he can one shot him, we can one shot like pre one shot him like post adaptation. Obviously, he could have did the same thing pre adaptation. So that's
He only
what my
one shots
argument.
him post adaptation because he uses a technique that Maharaga couldn't adapt to. But my point is, he's like constantly impressed by Maharaga. Like he's like, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. Like this nigga's like constantly like impressed by him.
Mm.
So I think if 3 fingers over Maharaga, or at least I mean Ryu, and then Ryu's more durable than current Yuta, and then current Sukuna can't damage current Yuta, like to that point. I think it's pretty obvious that current Sukuna is like below 3 finger level. It makes sense too. I wouldn't like. It's super crazy to think like Yuta and Yuji could contend with like 20 finger Sukuna. It makes sense.
Yeah, I low key think that's crazy too, considering we
Yeah.
see like Yuji get beat up. Like,
Yeah.
arguably, like for example, I don't really know a lot about like the time skip arguments that people use. Like, for example, the arguments of like, oh, this character got stronger, this like over this period of time. I don't.
Yuta denies that this chapter. I love that he does because it kind of is like goes against that kind of weird argument. It's like, oh, we
No, because
cheated.
I know people use like certain arguments like, oh, this character got stronger, and I'm just like, well, just because like time elapsed and it said that their like curse energy refinement got stronger, whatever. I don't think that can like be applicable to physicals. Because like for example, people try to argue that with the Maki statement, and then I'll just bring up the pen of Maki saying like she's at her best.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, look, I'm gonna tell you this, bro. I remember I was arguing with Haram on that, and then he was like, Maki's making a knowledge claim. I was like, how is Maki making a knowledge claim about her own strength? Like, hello, what are we doing?
Knowledge claim.
Like, it's crazy.
Even niggas use
But
that
yeah,
word. Just say a narrative. What? Knowledge
bro, real. Because I think it would be a narrative for, like, do you think it would
claim.
narratively be implied that Maki is stronger than Toji?
Um, I don't know. I like to this day I like to think Toji's a bit like they're on like the same level because that have a Toji agenda. But I don't know, maybe it changed.
Because I always thought it was implied, seeing how like they they constantly compare like new sorcerers to old sorcerers, and so I think you could correlate that with like Maki being the new heavily restriction user or the new anomaly in the system, whereas Toji was also regarded as an anomaly in the system via him breaking out of the chains of
Yeah.
the chains of curse energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you think what's it called? Do you think Yuta Blitz Kenjaku, by the way? I don't know what like Skypea thinks about this. I've only talked about this with like some friends.
See, now this is funny because I don't like. Look, I don't look. I'm just saying I don't think he blitzed him. Like some people will argue that Kenjaku tried to like use a move on Yuta and he still got tagged. But like the circumstance just doesn't help. Like, look, even if
Yeah.
you look, you could say you could show the panel and like, oh, okay, sure. But then if you know the context of what happened, it just like disregards that whole notion that he got blitzed because first of all, first of all, we know that Takaba was there like hindering Kenjaku from like even sensing or like even doing or like hearing anything. Like he couldn't even like I'll say this, he was hindered in sensing cursed energy, therefore he didn't sense Yuta in the area. So
Yeah.
by the time he acknowledged Yuta being there, he was already like ambushed and like for example, we already see Sukuna I'm not Sukuna Yuta with his like arm cocked back ready to swing on him. So like I don't even think you could say that's a bliss because there's just multiple factors that don't allow that to be said thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I also think like Utah hype. So like, you know how like Utah niggas always like argue narrative this, narrative that. Then they always ignore narrative behind the Kenjaku feat. Like, I hate Utah niggas. Pisses me off.
Yeah, like for example, I know people use narrative to try to get like you to really high.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I remember
Second
people used to say
strongest.
like
Yeah.
it's like the second strongest narrative. So it's like, oh, he's stronger than all these people before him. He just upscales off of them. I remember that was the arg before like we saw him
Yeah.
doing all the stuff he's doing now. I mean, obviously he's the current MVP, like besides
Hmm.
Yuji. Like obviously that's apparent, but I'm just saying like the narrative argument was really weird in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. Regardless, yeah. I don't think Utah's all that. I don't know if anymore, but I used to have like Mahito above Utah till like Shinjuku.
Wait, you have Mahito above Yuta?
I have Mahito above calling games Utah. I don't know what current Utah skills too. I don't know if he's stronger or weaker. We'll see. But I had Mahito above Utah.
I mean, yeah, I saw. Wait, was that the argument you had in like Old Shinjuku when like you had Mahito over Sendai, all of Sendai?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, what was that argument? Was it like Mahito? What was it? I forgot.
It was I think Mahito's like way